Howdy partners, this is Ice and C. Remember, outsider, I'll hate you for it, and I'm bringing you a game replay sent to me by none other than the sexiest and the godliest of all of the Jerrys, Jeku Jerry. We'll go ahead and start introducing the teams. Right over here is the Fawns, which if you guys get that reference, you are awesome and probably about as old as I am, if not a little bit older, as the Orc Warboss. Over here, TMD, like a boss, and another awesome name as the Eldar Warlock, and Jeku over here as the Eldar Warp Spider Exarch. They are going to be facing off against Sicarius as the blue team's Orc Warboss, TFC Kalasai as the Space Marine Tech Marine, and Taurus as the Chaos Plague Champion. Right away you can see right here that the Fawn's getting in some awesome damage onto that Warboss. Not sure if he could have stuck in there just a little bit longer, maybe could have killed that Warboss for free. And of course not entirely for free, but must be careful now that, ooh, nice Destructor Beam down on those Chaos Space Marines. It is one of those abilities I feel like that is fairly hit and miss when you cast it, but right there, a excellent use of it, definitely going to force them off. Over here you can see that the Space Marines and the Orcs combining their efforts to dish out enough damage to force the Eldar back. A wacky retreat path here from the Guardians, and oh no, like a boss losing his starting Guardian squad. And you can see over here like a boss and Jeku pulling out Rangers for both, and Jeku having lost his Warp Spider Exarch, definitely overextending him a little bit there. Those Orcs, you know, just you shoot me, I shoot you. And so you can see over here that Kalasai is trying to poke at the power and sees the Eldar coming up, decides to back up just a little bit to I guess go ahead and capture this VP and hang on to it. The Fawn's doing fairly good in holding off the Chaos player over here, Taurus, using that Nurgle worship, healing up all of his stuff in the field, but playing a little bit too defensive, I feel. Should definitely come up here and start poking at these Orcs, definitely not enough to hold off double Chaos Space Marines and those heretics along with their Plague Champion. Over here, a loud and massive engagement. Those Sluggaboys getting in and taking down that Warlock. He didn't stand a chance, but Sluggaboys getting sniped out of here. Banshee's jumping into the middle of all of these Shootaboys. The Space Marines should really be helping. Oh god, no, and he loses a Shootaboy squad, along with the loss of his Sluggaboy squad. Sicarius just not doing, you know, the best that he can in this game. These Banshees are going to need to get the hell out of there, because those Tactical Marines are not crap in melee, nor are they worse off if their Tech Marine is there to support them. Tactical Marines taking a good bit of damage, and strangely enough, no weapon kit for Jeku's Guardian team here. I definitely feel like he could benefit from the additional damage. As I say that, of course he goes and buys it. It's like he knows I'm watching. A lot of Orc boys going down there. Plague Champion with his Plague Sword, an excellent weapon against Orcs, with all of their squishy models, just allowing him to turn them into zombies and help their army to deal out even more damage than usual. Sicarius's Warboss overextending a bit there, getting forced off. Shootaboys making it back home. They do have their big Shoota. Do they have their knob? No, they don't, unfortunately. Getting a good power bash over here. Jeku doesn't want anyone to have power. He is selfish. Though I do feel like that was a bit premature, setting down a support structure on that node for blue team. Orcs coming in here and just really intimidating the crap out of those Chaos Marines, as they did not wait to retreat. They just booked it on out of there. And now you can see that Taurus sending his Plague Champion in here after these Slugga boys, and turns them around and starts to go after the Storm boys. This is probably a really bad idea. Could lose his Plague Champion real easily. Gets 2 models off those Storm boys, which is quite expensive for an Orc. Loses his Plague Champion though, and that's no good. Those zombies giving and those double Eternal War Chaos Marines with the grenade launch heretics definitely doing enough damage to send those guys packing. Assault Marines getting very close to death. Destructor Beam trying to do as much damage as it can to take them out, but it was not meant to be. So they're going to get out of there A-OK, with 2 Marine losses. That is a hefty price to pay to reinforce, especially with the power. You can see over here Sicarius is going for tier 2. And having lost his war boss as well, that's a real bad situation for him to be in. So he's going to see if he can make anything happen in tier 2. Where is Shootaboys at? Over here. But double Guardians and Ranger squad just going to absolutely slaughter them should they choose to engage. Banshees, 2 Banshees over here bashing generators. Those women have power kicks with their high heels, quite deadly. Double snipers for Kalasai over here, and that's really interesting against Eldar. Definitely going to be able to pick away models off of those Banshees, Rangers, and Guardians. Oh my. And you see that they decap their natural requisition point over there. Going to be quite a pain for blue team, taking down every little bit that they can. Noise Marines getting in here, dealing tons of damage to those Shootaboys and preventing them from shooting, period. And Plague Champ coming in here like a champ and turning all of the enemies into zombies. And you can see over here that the Orcs got some stick bombers. Gonna toss those in there, and not a real good toss, but a good enough toss to send those Rangers back home. Really bad stun bomb throw. I really don't know what he was doing there. You can see that, oh my gosh, those Noise Marines just doing so much damage to that power farm. I did play Elite mod, and I feel like they got a heavy nerf when they said only one of them had a power, or had a what's it called? Noise gun, noise cannon, whatever. Doing some Nurgle worshipping here, letting everyone get healed up, and now those Ludas going to suppress the entire army. Will there be a grenade barrage? I think it's on cooldown, which is, you know, not so good for them, but Taurus doing an excellent job on his own over there, pushing up the right side. Still hasn't gone tier 2, and the entire red team, at least now getting to purchase tier 2, should definitely consider purchasing some vehicle armor to throw the blue team off and force them to go into tier 2, which the only one that would be able to deal it would be with Sicarius, and so far is not exemplified extreme strategic prowess. Jakku getting a Warp Spider squad. Excellent range damage, good for nullifying vehicles and walkers alike, and all around a wonderful harassment unit, as they do teleport a good distance and are really quick on the draw. Finally, entire blue team rolling out in to Tier 2. You can see over here Taurus, it seems almost like carrying his team, doing a ton of damage to this orc and keeping him inside of his base. They do have their aspiring champion. No, they do not. Might want to purchase that to make them just a little bit more durable. But at this point, it doesn't really matter, as the orc player, the Fawn's getting completely contained inside of his base. Going to finish off this generator, perhaps, and red team making a concerted push all the way down the left side, decapping everything blue has and destroying every other thing that blue has. Here you go, you could see a anti-gravity grenade, as I like to call it, because what else could you call it? Keeping those shootaboys from shooting up anything. This warp spider taking a lot of damage. Will he be able to make it out of there? Should be able to. I don't see why, other than maybe horrible luck he trips or something. And over here you can see that finally the Fawn's getting some help from his teammates. Oh my god! Glorious stick bombs everywhere. You can see those Banshee zombies. I believe those are like a boss's Banshees, just getting turned into zombies, and they're, you know, basically killing their own people. Plague Champions out on the field for Taurus, and I can't really see why. I'm not sure if he's seen this Wraith Lord yet, though perhaps he was just suspecting it all along. There was a Noxious Cloud over here doing a ton of damage to those Orc Boys. Orc Boys just so soft and take so much damage from that Noxious Cloud. You can see right here, blue team significantly ahead in victory points, and now starting to recap more than half of the map, way more than half the map. So red team is really going to need to make a strong push and keep blue team back in their bases to really win this one. Tech Marine's got his plasma gun, and that does insane amounts of damage, though I'm not sure why he purchased it. Autark drop inside of Sicarius' base. He's gonna lose those stick bombs. He does. Autark gets out of there with the warp spiders. Absolutely fine. No losses there whatsoever. A really neat use of a Autark drop, I think. I haven't really seen anyone do that before. So incredible unique play. I believe the Autark, yeah, Jakku owns that Autark. She's the ballsiest Autark I've seen, and the only ball she's got is on her chest. Still nothing really to deal with this Wraith Lord, except for Taurus's double Plague Marines, and he's kind of just sitting here in his base. Not really sure why he's doing that, but if you didn't notice, he was using Nurgle Worship as well at his base to give them that additional health regeneration that, you know, stacks with the base regeneration. These shooter boys coming up here, shooting up those Banshees real good. They do have their Exarch. And oh my gosh, that gravity grenade keeping those boys in place while that Wraith Lord just beats the living snot out of them. And a nice retreat grenade. I believe the only person... No? Yeah, that was Jeku's. So, Jeku playing like an absolute boss right here. And there are knobs now out here on the field. But Banshees with their X-Arc are going to have a severe disagreement with these knobs. And they're going to get forced off in the retreat way too much. Knobs may seem like they are the most godly units in the game, but you do not send them out without support. Same with Terminators. And now you can see that these Chaos Marines really out for the Fawns. I don't know what they have against him. But Noise Marines getting up into these Luda's faces, preventing them from shooting and suppressing. That's a real pain. I hate when that happens. And going to do a ton of damage. Plague Marines, no slouch in range damage even against infantry, though not necessarily as good as other ranged units. Stick Bombs in combination with Ethereal Slash not going to really work well together. Basically, should have coordinated that a little bit better, perhaps, I think. But Heretics getting gibbed to pieces, 2 models left, and that's going to force them to run back home and reinforce. Warlock is incredibly dangerous when you get him all kitted out. And you can see over here the Marines, Kalasai making some really awkward choices as far as his unit selection. Plasma cannons, double sniper scouts with sergeants and tactical Marines with this missile launcher. I understand the missile launcher part, but I'm not exactly sure why he chose that plasma cannon. It really didn't blob that hard with their infantry units. So, could have possibly put that 400 requisition into something a little bit more useful. Sicarius, again, coming in here, bald and foolish with his knobs, and they're not doing anything. And are forced to retreat once again. I do believe they have all of their upgrades. And Terminators coming in. These are the regular, because he can not purchase the assault ones while using the Tech Marine. And what upgrade will he purchase for them, or will he perhaps leave them? And a huge warp in behind that plasma cannon squad got absolutely obliterated within seconds. Knobs coming in, getting some support from some sniper scouts. Double grenades going down, and they retreat without having put pressure on them. And these Terminators are sitting here like lame ducks. They know when it's bad. They don't want to go anywhere near that army. But they get too close and they, decide, I guess, hey, we can take some pot shots. Now they're running in. They weren't going to help no orcs. Not no way, not no how. They thought it was funny. Warp Spider jumping in here, trying to tie them up in melee, and the Terminators retreat without giving really any contest. Double Plague Marines over here, gonna harass the generators. Orcs kind of not paying attention. Stick Bombs coming off, doing a good amount of damage to those Plague Marines, but Noxious Cloud comes down again, and those Orcs are in some serious trouble. Really have to pay attention whenever your opponent is using the Plague Champion. He's going to walk his Ludus right into the Noxious Cloud. And those double Plague Marines get plenty. They take out one generator and the node. That will definitely hurt their income quite a bit. Ethereal Slash coming in. These knobs have really not paid for themselves whatsoever. You can't just play this like orcs. You can't go knobs and expect to face, own everything. It just doesn't work that way. These missile launcher tactical marines. Doing some good damage to that Wraith Lord, and there you see the upgrade for the Terminators, the Assault Cannon, going to give lots of infantry units. Unfortunately, they don't have really an anti-vehicle weapon that they can attach to them. I think the missile launchers that they can put on their back do some form of anti-vehicle. And here's a Rocks. Jakku, do you see it? No, you don't. Oh! Stasis all of his units, and absolutely perfect timing. Did not have to give up any ground whatsoever, and the Orc War Boss dies. So an excellent play right there by Jakku, not letting his units die, and also not giving up any ground and somehow taking out that War Boss. You can see right here that it's really starting to come down to the wire. The red team getting quite low on points. Perhaps, you know, could have been a concerted or conjoined their efforts a little bit better to focus on the victory points. Now they have the 2-to-1. There was a gravity well and a storm, whatever the hell it's called, from the Eldar player. Probably, I think, TMD and Jakku. Fire Prism out here on the field, and those things are quite dangerous if you don't have anything to really deal with them. And smartly getting those Terminators out of the fray. And over here it looks like quite a big battle. You can see still here that the Plague Champion still has his Plague Sword, and I think he has Mucus Discharge and then the Fetid Armor, increasing his health and granting an Unholy Stench, which damages and suppresses enemies around him, which is quite useful, I think, especially in conjunction with that Plague Sword, allowing him to charge into melee blobs or ranged blobs and really start turning things into zombies, but eventually did get forced off there. Sicarius getting into tier 3, and I think the only reason he did that was a Desperation Rocks drop, which, as you can see, didn't really help him at all. It's not something that you should really do unless you are absolutely out of any idea. And you can see right here, red team really starting to have a problem. Down to 28 VPs, and blue team has 238. So it's going to be quite hard for them to pull this one out. Double Plague Marines need to get out of there, and there's a Warp Throw, and they're going to have to retreat right through that Wraith Lord, which is going to hurt quite bad. And the Plague Champion, still no Plague Fist for him, but, you know, I can see why he wouldn't really use that. And there's a D-Cannon, a Singularity. Oh my gosh. 2 D-Cannons. Rangers, Guardians, even Warp Spiders and Banshees. Everything here out on the field. 2 Singularities going down and doing a lot of damage, giving a lot of Orcs and Space Marines, and that War Boss is going to go down. You can see over here that these Terminators are still out on the field, haven't quite died, but if they're not careful, they're going to eat a lot of damage to the face. A 1-to-1 cap right now. Can red team still hold on? All that needs to happen is for blue team to get a good cap off, and that will be the end of that. D-Cannons doing a lot of damage to their own Wraith Lord. Something you must be very, very careful. Warp Vomit coming out protecting the Wraith Lord, but doesn't quite prevent it from going down. Now you can see a Venerable Dreadnought coming here out on the field, and those Banshees with their Exarch are going to wail on it while it is stunned with that Haywire Grenade from the Warp Spiders. Should be focusing down the melee units, and you can see that the... oh no, and it's another storm! Those knobs getting absolutely owned. But they survive, luckily. And he brings out some Storm Boys, which I think, having seen those double D cannons, is probably an excellent choice. And you can see the War Boss for the Fawns is quite upset and has his Power Claw and is ripping through Space Marines and Chaos Marines alike. There is the dying Venerable Dreadnought. And that Warlock gets pegged down by the Tech Marine with this plasma gun. Also has the Refractor Field, which is really good to keep him alive. A Desperation Cap, or a decap from the Tech Marine. Sorry, it's early in the morning. And that's not going to go well for him. He gets killed by the War Boss. Swinging his Power Claw the wrong way doesn't matter, still hurts. Dropping some stick bombs on that friendly avatar, not going to help him, but not really going to hurt him all that badly. And I believe these are Warp Spiders, yep, getting clobbered to death by knobs. Snapping them like stems. And you can see these Chaos Marines and these Plague Marines getting kind of stuck in a really bad place. They're going to take a lot of damage and they're going to get killed quite badly. Rangers out on the... I'm assuming he's talking about those Rangers for Like a Boss, and it looks like they did go down. And now it seems like the tides have turned. You could see the blue team is scrambling desperately to get a hold back in this game, seeing that their victory points are getting ever so low. They should definitely, red team should definitely make a push towards this VP just to throw the blue team off balance. Trying to infiltrate a grenade inside of those Eldar Banshees pockets, we'll call it that. And they don't fall for it. Easily dodge it. And you can see right there, they stasis the knobs. And the Fawns, absolutely tired of getting wailed on this entire game by the Chaos Marines, drop some of the biggest rocks I've ever seen on those knobs' head. Great teamwork. I think there was also a plasma grenade thrown in there somewhere and doing a great amount of damage. And God, that was so hard to watch. Seeing those Terminators just kind of sit there. They are quite tough, but they are not invincible, especially whenever you've got that heavy knockback from the Avatar that absolutely just owns everything. There's no two ways about it. And somehow managing to suppress these Banshees with the Terminator Assault Cannon. It does suppress if you let it shoot quite long enough. And I think the suppression gets stronger the closer the target really gets. And you can see right there a levitation grenade, a gravity grenade, whatever you really want to call it, forcing those guys up into the air. And these Terminators just took a wrong turn at Albuquerque and got completely owned. Get out of here, Terminators. The Eldar are having none of that. And it looks like the red team is really going to pull this one out of the pits. Not much that Taurus can really do here when, you know, you've got one ally who doesn't really know why they're choosing what they're choosing, and another ally who doesn't really know how to keep his units alive. But nevertheless, an excellent match. This was probably one of the funnest matches I've seen in quite some time. Really did not see this going so well for the red team, but they managed to hang on to the game and do enough damage and keep enough of their units alive and purchased all the right units so that they could just grip the map with an iron hold and never let it go, even though the enemy team was only losing 1 victory point a second, which is, you know, it feels like forever in these kind of matches. But yeah, Taurus definitely carrying his team, and, you know, beating down the Fawns, which, you know, I'm kind of sad that there really wasn't. If they could have locked down Taurus, I feel like this game would have gone so much smoother, because it was obvious that the Fawns was having some trouble over here. And the thing is yeah, this was the natural, you know, power node and gen farm for the Fawns, but it puts that power towards the entire team. And when you lose it like that, it really starts to put you behind. But nevertheless, doing enough damage to Sicarius to warrant, you know, that being okay, giving boys left and right, and he never really did quite recover from that. And Kalasai kind of making some really awkward choices. Those double sniper scouts and the plasma devastators, really kind of just such a strange choice. And with as much resources as he was holding on to, I feel like he should have just spent it on something useful. Maybe like an earlier dreadnought, or maybe some assault marines or something like that. Even though they technically don't scale nearly as well with the tech marine as they do with the force commander or the apothecary. But yeah, and Taurus making some phenomenal decisions, and a very interesting build I've seen out of him, the Plague Sword against those orcs and the Noise Marines, absolutely shutting down their suppression, as well as the grenade launch heretics, doing a ton of damage. You know, I was really surprised about that. And then there kind of towards the end, when he was facing 2v1, really didn't go so well for him, and that's not really his fault, more or less his allies' fault. But anyway, I'm done droning on about this game. Some very awesome plays from the red team and as well from the blue team. And yeah, if you like the video, guys, leave a like. And if you'd like to leave a comment, ask me where I've been, what I've been doing or something, go ahead and leave a comment down below, because I feel like it would be much easier for me to just leave a comment in a video as opposed to talking about it in one of my videos. You're not here to hear about my personal life, you're here to watch the game and hear my commentary, and I can't commentate about my life during this game because it has absolutely nothing to do with this. So anyway, and if you loved the video, go ahead and hit subscribe as I trip over my tongue. There will be plenty more to come. That's pretty much all I got for you guys. This is Ice and C. Remember, outsider, I'll hate you for it, and I'll catch you partners later.